welcome to another edition of the Husker Fans of Montana podcast. I'm Ricky J here with BB, Karl, and Jeff in Omaha, and special guest in Omaha, Nate.
Little something for the ladies tonight. We got Nate joining us.
The man with the most hair.
Awesome. That's no doubt.
Yeah.
Right.
Ladies, feel free to message our Facebook page, and we might be able to link you up with him. He's single, soon to be college graduate. At least I think you're single. No, your dad hasn't said anything. So, you don't have to answer it. I'm going to put you on the spot.
That's on the spot.
I don't put you on the spot.
Holy cow!
Some girl or girls may be listening to this, so you don't want to dime yourself
Let's
out.
just stick to football. Let's stick with football.
Says the man who goes everywhere. All right, well. Let me pull up some news as we normally start with. This is kind of a special one because we're going to do a game review. Then we're going to do sort of a season review, and then we're going to talk about 2024. So, sort of some news topics right now. Huskers in the season 5-7 after the loss to Iowa 13-10. Nebraska last appearance in a bowl game occurred in December of 2016 when they faced Tennessee in the Music City Bowl. The Huskers would lose that game by a score of 38-24. Nebraska finished the season 129th of 130 FBS teams in turnovers with a margin of -17.
Who was lower? Only behind Temple.
Behind only Temple. They lost 15 fumbles and had 16 interceptions. Nebraska QBs are responsible for the bulk of these turnovers. And the questions we'll look at in the 2024 section, or as we look at the next season, is a portal QB the answer, or a new QB coach, or both? And in Karl's Whiskey Corner, we're featuring Old Foster Mint Julep. Karl, why don't we just kick off with this season the way it was? Why don't we just kick off with Karl's Whiskey Corner?
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the Old Forester, good brand. It's a medium area or medium of the road bourbon, but it has some good ones. This one is like a dessert bourbon. It's not. I mean, it's nothing fancy. It just has a nice.
My wife would drink this.
If you like mint juleps with mint, the mint piece, this is a good one to have like as a nightcap.
It's really tasty.
So yeah, so it's a good one to have at the end of the evening.
Nate, how old are you?
22.
Yeah, boy, you can have one with us then.
Yeah, absolutely. Next season, we're going to have to make sure you guys are stocked up in advance or something for the.
Yeah, we'll have to be more coordinated.
I tell you, when I was 22, my girlfriend would drink this. It's just sweet and easy drinking.
Yeah.
It's really
goes down. Yeah, it's a good one.
Well, I guess let's just get this over with. Let's and this is the shortest Nebraska versus Iowa video that I could come up with, and you should be able to hear this, Nate and Jeff, but you won't be able to see it because I've never learned to share my screen without messing anything up. So we will. This is 2 minutes and 52 seconds of pain. So here we go.
Well, first down for Iowa. Off the fake pitch. Hill looking to throw. Pass is complete. And he's got his tight end on the near side. Stilianos inside the 5, and he went out of bounds.
Amongst everything in this game, the tackling was atrocious.
Yeah.
Just did not tackle well.
He's in. Touchdown, Iowa. Cap at the top of your screen. 2 receivers to the bottom. And Purdy roaming to the right side. With a little bit of trouble.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah. That was a bad fumble.
By Jay Higgins. This will be a 28-yard field goal attempt. Taylor's the holder. Good snap, good hold. Kick is on its way, and it is good.
Here comes pressure. Watch 34 Higgins. He's coming.
Yeah, they're all coming through the middle. Now he pulls back. Purdy's looking long. Purdy's got a man.
Nice play.
So this was a long pass. Nebraska was down by 10, and they just it'll be Iowa 10, Nebraska 7.
66 yards. He was wide open. Second down and 10. They give it to Williams. Williams makes a man miss. Williams inside Nebraska territory.
That's sad because, I mean, Iowa has no offense. And all of a sudden, they do.
Yeah.
52 yards.
But I don't know if you remember, they do block the field goal, which was awesome. They blocked 2 field goals in this game.
One man miss trying to get to the outside. Nothing doing. The ball is loose. I believe Iowa fell on top of it. He's got the wind at his back. It's a good snap, good hold. Kick is on its way. It's got the length, and it's good, and we're tied up at 10.
And our kicker just tied it up 10-10.
Good snap, good hold. Kick is on
This
its
one
way.
was just
Then he missed one, yeah.
Pulling it to the left.
way left.
Williams in the backfield. Hill looking to throw. Hill going long. It's intercepted. Tommy Hill picks it out of the air. Flags come in as he goes out of bounds.
Gotta tell you, I was feeling good at this point again.
I know.
Two receivers to the top, two to the bottom. Pressure's coming. Picked up by Nebraska. Intercepted.
That's yeah.
He did not see that linebacker drop back into coverage.
To the 37-yard line. Hill out of the gun. They hand it off to Williams. Williams.
This was inexcusable.
Inside the 30, breaks the
Totally.
tackle inside the 25. Gifford missed him. Good snap. Good hold. Kick is on its way. It is good. And Iowa has won as time has expired.
And that was our third walk-off field goal loss, 10-13 of the season. But so Nate, tell us a little bit. You're a student now. You're in your. Do you graduate this this Christmas or in the spring?
So I declared my major a little late, so I still got some credits left. So I'll graduate next fall.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm a senior. Finance student at UNL right now.
You're on the COVID plan.
Yep, exactly. I get the extra year.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's awesome.
Is Dad on time with the checks, or is he kind of slow with that?
Yeah,
He's been
no
doing all
problem.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So far, yeah.
So this is awesome. We're going to have you as a for another year as our man on campus. Another football season.
Another fall.
So give us your flavor, your take on, and what's the students feel about Rule, how it all went this year. How's the student body feeling?
I think they feel good. I think there's a quiet confidence about Matt Rule. There's not a lot of the outspoken hype that Scott Frost had, but it seems to be a less panic amongst the student body, and just kind of like the Iowa game. It felt like the same Nebraska, but at the same time, there's things that you saw that improved, and I think the students feel good about where the football team is, and they have confidence for next year and beyond. So,
Well, that's good. It's important to keep that excitement among the student body. Jeff, what did you think of the Iowa game? Now you heard a little more because you're in Omaha, right across, the river, and probably some buddies were giving you a little bit of a bad time. So tell us about it.
Did I hear some air?
There was a groan. I think it was a groan. Or,
Yeah, it's never ending. I think over all the years, this one maybe hurt more than a lot of them, just because it was that close. We couldn't win one out of those last 4 games to get us to a bowl game, and to have Iowa be the one that keeps us out of a bowl just sucked. And yeah, the guys weren't too brutal, but definitely got the ribbon in that I needed, I guess, afterwards.
Well, we'll just go around the room here, BB.
I just think Jeff's taking it like a man. That's awesome. Because next year, when you beat them at home next year, and we are bowl bound, you're going to feel a lot better. And look them in the eyes. So all I can say is hang in there. It was a rough year. It clearly, that game, if we're focusing on it, just almost encapsulated the entire season. That last second, last interception, you've got good hold. Okay, we're going to go down. We're going to tie, then no, it just broke your heart, kind of like the season did a little bit. But at the same time, like Nate is saying,
Right.
There's so much room for optimism, so many things that are better. You really, I do. I think in a couple of years, it's going to be a pretty good football team.
Karl, if you remember the game, I mean,
I do.
It's been a while, and I've tried to forget it, but
No, I agree with something that Nate said about there's an optimism that's different. Even though they lost, there's still you saw growth, and I still get the feeling that they're one or two pieces away, which is actually a good thing. I mean, whether it's a player or whether it's just another season, you can honestly take a look at if you reduced the turnovers.
Just
How
that
many
alone.
Just the turnovers alone, would that not have been one or two games?
Oh, sure.
right.
Right. But that's something that's fixable. So I feel like there's like one or two pieces. A quarterback I think is essential, and
Clearly we missed it on the quarterback.
this year, I think. But we won't. They'll
I
fix
get
it.
that.
I mean,
but this year, if we're recapped,
I still feel optimistic. I feel like there was growth. They were like this close, and so a little bit of progress next year will be good.
Now, Nate, I mean, I didn't know before I moved up here. Jeff really didn't know, but there is football in Montana, and it gets a little confusing. It's
Go Grizz.
FCS. So we actually have one of our two prominent Montana teams are still in the playoffs. So I'm going to turn it over to Karl for an update on Grizz football. They're actually playing to get to the championship.
They're playing the semifinals this weekend in Missoula. They have home field. They're playing against the 9-time champions,
15 times or
whatever it
something,
is,
I
North
guess.
Dakota State University. But they're having to come to our house this time. Grizz are looking good. I mean, they seem to be hitting at the right time. You know, they did what they needed to do against Furman. Furman was a good team.
very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
they're
football
good,
team.
and so. However, I got to tell you, I watched the Bobcat game against NDSU, and I watched NDSU against South Dakota this past weekend. NDSU is hitting on all cylinders right now. I'm a little worried. I am a little worried. I think home field will help. They sold out the stadium as of today. NDSU is going to be tough, though. I mean, it's going to come down to mistake-free football.
Yeah, I heard some Grizz haters online like giving the Grizz a bad time because I guess the Friday game wasn't sold out or at capacity. Well, one, it's a Friday. People probably didn't arrive until after the start,
Freaking
and
10
then there was a pretty
degrees
big
outside.
accident on the interstate.
Oh, was it? I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
so.
there's a big truck on fire and everything, closed down some lanes. So anyway, so I know it was kind of a big deal that it was sold out this Saturday.
Yeah, I think it should be a good game. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, and Jeff and Nate, just north of you there, you got both the South Dakota teams are.
Yeah, the
South Dakota
Jackrabbits.
State is
They're still in it.
I will say this: it's fun football. It's good football. It is just it's a lot of fun to watch. It's wide open football. I think it's not as scripted maybe as when you get to the FBS. You kind of almost like when you go to the NFL, and when there's a mistake, it's like, oh my goodness, there's a mistake. You get a little more of that in high school, and more, you know what I mean, to the different levels of ball. I think FCS football is actually a lot of fun to watch.
Well, we should coordinate. I think, Jeff, you mentioned maybe you guys would come out for a game next season.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. And you guys got an outdoor stadium then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And because NDSU probably plays indoors, don't
They do at the Fargo Dome. That could be it. That could be,
And
and
whether-
not to mention elevation. Elevation plays a factor in this. I mean, teams from
Especially
lower
special
elevations.
teams and
Yeah, special teams start to feel a little
Outdoors.
winded at the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
hopeful.
that'll probably be on TV again, won't it?
It's actually nationally. It's going to be a national broadcast. It's ESPN2. It's 2:30 Mountain Standard Time on Saturday.
I'll have to check it out.
It'd be a lot of fun.
I'll tell you, the last game was really good. It came down to OT,
Yeah.
and the Grizz won it. But it's good football. It's a lot of fun, and it's a very cool stadium to watch a game in.
Loud, exciting,
Yeah.
good place to watch.
But 27,000.
Well, the capacity they say 25.8, but they've been getting 26, almost 27 in there. So
We were we there? Then
Yeah.
they had the record. The Cat Grizz
against
game.
the Cat
It was like
Grizz game was
27,000.
Right, was the record. So, and I got to see the first game they played in the playoffs against Delaware. I got to see in Denver. It was kind of fun because I went to a sports bar in downtown Denver that had all nothing but Grizz fans. And so Brooklyn's right by where the Avalanche and the Nuggets play. It was
Very
kind of fun.
Yeah, very
that
cool.
you had a tire bar full of nothing but Grizz fans
Right
that
on.
all live in Denver. So
Yeah,
that's
in
kind of
Denver.
fun.
That is cool. That's very cool. Well, to begin our discussion about the overall 2023 season, I'm going to play this short little clip, and I think you guys will recognize it.
You ever think we're being, I don't want to say sleazy, because that's not the right word, but a little irresponsible? I mean,
No. One day you'll look back on all this and laugh. Say we were young and stupid. Couple of dumb kids running around.
we're not that young.
I'm gonna cry.
Yep.
I'm gonna cry.
My God, it's my life story.
Hell of a season now.
Hell of a season.
Is that for the Wedding Crashers? Really? Is that
Yeah.
what-
It's been a hell of a season, and I think there are some references because it's like, oh, we've only sucked for a little while. And it's like, well, we're not that young.
Yeah,
we've
we
kind of
kinda
sucked for a long
while.
time. So there's some subtle references there for what's been going on with the team and for this season. But Nate, I'll just kind of start with you again and give us your overall thoughts on the entire season.
I think there's definitely some things to build on there. I thought the defense was a nice surprise, and it's nice to get Tony White locked up and get him back to help, continue to build on that. And, the offense obviously has a long ways to go, but, you at least identify what your weaknesses are, and you have a strength in the defense. So I think this offseason, a big thing will be improving that offense. And, I think there's things to improve on. But yeah, they know what they need to do. They need to improve that offense. And, I'm excited for next year. This season was, it was a good one.
Well, it's great to have that excitement. Yeah. So, Jeff, I'll just flip it over to you and your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it builds a ton of anxiety for next year. I think can we keep the defense anywhere close to where it was? It is great to keep Tony White there. There's probably no chance we have him after next year if they do half decently. And then it's that if we had the crystal ball, what are those young receivers going to turn into? Are they going to be worth a damn next year? Are we going to have a quarterback that can we cut those turnovers in half? Can we be -9 for the season and see if we can win a couple more games? I think overall it was good. Like, I was tentative at the beginning of the season just because of old Frosty Flakes and the past regimes where you had that hope or whatever. But I did see it get better in the trenches. I'd seen, other than the turnovers, better discipline, less penalties, stuff like that. So I have my faith in Matt Rule and just hope that the machine keeps moving forward.
Hey, Jeff, I got a question for you. You're kind of close to the whole media piece and a lot of the talk. What are you hearing about McCord possibly coming?
Nate's onto this too. I don't think he's coming. I think he's now
Breaking news tonight.
Is it breaking news tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's he going?
Don't know, but because Raiola's coming in this weekend for an official visit.
Kind of the piece that came out via, I think it's on3.com. They kind of came out and said that Kyle McCord was moving on from Nebraska and he wasn't considering it. They didn't really give a team or anything specific that he was, looking for, but they said that he was moving on with his
that's too
recruitment.
bad. Because I think he'd be a good one.
Right. Yeah. And that just dropped probably 2 or 3 hours ago. So,
Yeah.
And there was that receiver from Ohio State too that was pretty high. So I think they would have came as a pair had he come, but I don't think we'll get that kid.
That's
either
too bad.
Well, I think what he wanted, what you were reading, Brian, was he wanted a commitment that he would be the starter. And I responded to Brian and said, yeah, you'll start the first game. Get in there for your one play. Now get back out. You know, if you don't, you got to want to kind of win the job. I mean, I think you could say to him, if all goes as planned, you would be the starter. There's no doubt. I anticipate that you will.
Right.
But if you suck it up, I'll start you the first game.
Well, I'm sorry, but I mean, it's like McCord. He was a starter at Ohio State. Why wouldn't he think he would be at least have the? He'd be the starter?
He should think he was.
He should think he is. Yeah.
But to expect a guarantee from your coach,
no coach is going to, but he should have confidence in his own ability. I mean,
he should.
He was Ohio
absolutely.
State's quarterback for God's sake, and
Absolutely.
he had a good season. He should have
Absolutely.
confidence that okay, I got this.
You should. It is. I just want to point out, it's really hard to wrangle you guys and keep you in check because we're actually currently discussing the season, not next year.
Karl?
No, it's all. No, it's all.
This is what happens when you start drinking, but it's okay. It's a free for all. It's an open conversation.
When I start drinking.
It's just
Well, it's hard to escape. It's hard to not bring up quarterback talk when you're talking about this season because quarterback play was such a huge
let's
part.
talk about quarterback play this last season, and because it's one thing. The only starting quarterback that won a game was Heinrich Harburg. He won 5. And he should have won a 6th. I went back and looked, at that Michigan State game, and not to totally blame the refs, but hey, there was just some bad calls, and it's good to go back and remind ourselves, kind of what happened, and on that, it was the drive before the last. They had clearly a pass interference that was not called that would have set us up. And then on the final drive, he throws it for a first down, a great throw. They mark it short. The clock keeps running, and we don't have any timeouts, and there's not much time. There's seconds. And then it should have been an incomplete pass, and they called it a fumble, so we lost yards and lost time. But also, I'm going to go over the kind of the scores from last year because I sit back and think, what the hell what were the results? You tend to forget it. So the Cornhuskers this year, remember our first game was a walk-off loss, 10-13, last-second field goal, no time left on the clock. Then we go to Colorado, and we lose 14-36. It just got out of hand in that fourth quarter.
Right. But I would say for 3/4 of that football game, we were definitely in it.
At least half.
Yeah,
Definitely. At least the
half.
first half you were.
Well, yeah, and you figure the defense and then the altitude, like eventually.
Our special teams play was bad. Our offensive turnovers were bad.
Yeah.
Well, our quarterback, Jeff Sims, started both of those games, and he was a turnover machine in both of those games.
Inside of our own 30.
Right.
He turned it over on their side of the field, like inside our 30, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm sure he didn't, but if he was a betting man on the game, he didn't hurt himself by turning them all over like that. But so he gets hurt, and I'll do that in air quotes. And then Heinrich Harburg gets a starting job. He wins it. We win at NIU 35-11. Louisiana Tech, we win 28-14. Both those were expected, although I would say Louisiana Tech was probably not a pushover. Then we go to Michigan. Obviously, that's a loss, 7-45.
They had illegal,
Well, they knew our,
they scouted us.
They knew what our
different
plays would be.
scouting.
They knew the place.
Yeah, they knew the plays. It might have been a little.
Clearly would have been 45-14 if they had.
Exactly.
But then we recover. We go to Illinois, and we win 20-7. We have Northwestern at home. We win 17-9, and Northwestern, ended up being a pretty darn good football team. We have Purdue at home. We win 31-14, and we go to Michigan State, and this would have been Heinrich Harburg's 6th win, and we would have been bowl eligible, and he and we lose that game 17-20. He did a great job getting us back to so close. Maryland, he gets hurt in the Maryland game. Sims comes back in, initially looks good, and then goes back to his old ways and becomes a turnover machine again. And Chubba Purdy comes in towards mid to late fourth quarter, and unfortunately, just it looks decent, but can't do enough. Turns it over in the end zone.
End zone empty.
Yeah, it just it ends up kind of showing that all three quarterbacks, it had issues. But he retains then the starting job. Well, Maryland is another walk-off loss, a field goal, no time left, 10-13. And then that's the second one of the season. Then we go to Wisconsin, a struggling Wisconsin team. We lose in OT, 17-24. Another very winnable game. And then Purdy retains the starting job for Iowa, where we have our final walk-off field goal loss, 10-13. So that's kind of the season scores sort of in review. And
God, we lost 3 games, 10-13.
yeah, with when time when time expired on the clock. I would love to know if there is any team out there in a season that's lost 3 games, no time left on the clock by a field goal.
Us.
Those are the kind of records you can expect to get here at Nebraska.
Go Big Red. Let's go.
So to bring it back to the QBs, I guess I know we really want a different caliber of QB coming in, but there's part of me that I'm a Heinrich Haarberg fan because he actually won. He won five games. And he should have, in my opinion, he played well enough to win the 6th game, and he really got screwed over in the Michigan State game.
And how many turnovers were by, like, the running backs and stuff in those games?
I didn't go back and break it down for each game, but definitely the quarterbacks were turnover machines.
Yeah, they led the way in the turnovers.
But also, when I went back and looked at these games too, so in the starting couple games, at least you had like Washington as a receiver, so a quarterback had him to throw to. By the time Heinrich became the quarterback, he freaking had no one to throw to. And it took these guys a while before they started getting open and towards
in fairness, same for Purdy. He had
he had him by the last 2. They were certainly much better at getting open, and they were just better. They had some time under their belts.
So what do you see next year? What does Nebraska do right for next year's quarterback? Do we go to the portal? Do we try to get what's Washington State's quarterback? Is he still?
He's going to Ohio State.
Ohio State.
I'm guessing he's going to go Ohio State.
Yes, he might have been a good fit. He's mobile and
yeah. What? Obviously you guys just had the news, and Brian just brought that, and I'd read it briefly, and he read a little more on it, that Ohio State the quarterback is not coming to Nebraska. Jeff, what do you think? What are you thinking on quarterback? Are we hoping Chubba and Heinrich both stay, or is it like we don't care anymore and we got to bring in new blood, or what's the feeling?
Well, I mean, feeling before this week would have been that Chubba and Heinrich stay, because not knowing what we're going to get in the portal. Now, like I say, it looks like Raiola's coming in this weekend. I can't imagine that they would be doing this, because then our Bellevue West recruit is now looking elsewhere, looking out at Michigan State.
And he's a 4-star quarterback, which is scary.
Yeah, and he played in the Elite 11 or Elite whatever it is. I mean, he's good. 11. So, I mean, I think there must be, something pretty solid with Raiola coming in here this weekend. So I think we're going to end up with Raiola. Now, how that affects Chubba and Heinrich. And Heinrich, I think he can transfer without sitting out, but Chubba can't. So I don't know how that affects them. When we're looking at what we had, though, the thing with Heinrich, like, I love the kid too. In those first couple games, he ran tough and all that. But it seemed like as soon as people started getting film on him or whatever, that's when his turnover machine started. And so I would worry a little bit about bringing, him being anywhere close to QB1, because I just think once they started figuring him out, he really struggled to get the ball down the field.
Jeff, do you think when you say that they started to get film on him, a lot of times that's talking about that he's not looking off defenders? Is that a coachable thing?
Yeah, I suppose it is, but I don't know how much of his tendencies you could coach out of him.
That brings in the second question is, do we have to get another quarterback coach? And I've heard the first name thrown out because all three quarterbacks had the same problem. They could not read coverages. And so I guess I'll add that into the mix for you, Jeff, is not only do we need a new quarterback, but do we also need a quarterback coach, or do we need what's the priority?
I hope we get one, honestly. I don't think Satterfield I don't think that's his forte. I don't think he's a QB whisperer. And I don't think he was initially brought in to do that either.
That's a good way to put it.
So I wish, we could take that off his plate, bring somebody else in.
Nate, how's your arm? How you feeling?
You got a year of eligibility.
Can you hit a
left,
crossing pattern because nobody else can?
I could probably throw a 10-yard slant. Anything beyond
that's
that,
good. That's good. You got a shot.
Just don't throw it to the other team. That's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was going to say the thing with Harburg that I didn't see as a strength is I just did not see him passing all that well. A lot of crossing patterns, he threw behind his receivers quite a bit. He was off target. I don't know that any of ours were great in that department, but if he had a weakness, it just seemed like he couldn't hit a guy on the move real well.
I'm more of his camp, obviously, than you guys are. But just even when I went back and looked at, because you're right, but some throws were freaking amazing
right there,
and other throws, it's like obviously he did really well. But you're right, there are other throws. One looked really bad, but the receiver got tackled before he got to where he would have been, and that one was flagged in the game I watched. But then there was one he just overthrew the dude, but he was almost getting crushed, and he put it up and just overthrew the tight end.
Well, no doubt our receivers, there were some passes dropped this season too. That was also a
problem. What happened to our tight ends? Have you guys read anything on that? Anyone? Don't you think when we went down to three freshman wide receivers, our tight end room would have been really leaned on?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and I thought that was supposed to be a decent room, the tight end room, but no shows for the most part.
Seemed like they used him a lot in the red zone. I know Fedoni, I think he had 4 or 5 touchdowns, but yeah, in the middle of the field, before the red zone, it seems like they weren't really a part of the offense.
Yeah, and that seems to be a pass that is, because if you're sending guys deep, it's clearing that unless you get a linebacker that drops. So, but I'll take a tight end on a linebacker on a tight end, especially one of those big guys that plays basketball that can jump.
And Fione's athletic. You were almost hoping for a version of Mahomes Kelsey this season where, there was some chemistry and they had, they just had that connection and it never developed. So. Right.
No, you're exactly right. Well, I don't know. I just like, not that I don't like Purdy. I think he's got great skills, and really it's up to the coaching staff to figure it out. I agree with you. I've said this before this whole season that their biggest fail is by selecting Jeff Sims to be the quarterback, to bring him in and say, you're going to be our guy, because it cleared out our room.
Yep.
And that was a huge miss on their part. So they've got to fix that. They've got to get it right, and we'll see if we will. I hope they get Dylan. I'm a little gun shy of Dylan because, we thought he might be coming here before. I hope he is.
I don't know. It all is pretty loud around here. That, like Nate was saying earlier, that there may have been some, something that went down or was promised maybe out of Georgia that isn't getting followed through, and Dominic ain't having that. I can't imagine that Dominic would do this either, especially as our 4 stars going to go start looking elsewhere if it wasn't a pretty done deal. But
yeah, I mean, for those listening that don't know, I mean, his dad Dominic was the starting center at Nebraska. What was he? 98 to 2000, something like that. And I know he won the Remington Award, so he was a hell of a center at Nebraska. And then obviously his uncle is the offensive line coach, Donovan. So there's certainly some connections to Nebraska. One thought that went through my mind, I'm like, I hope he's not just checking out Nebraska again to make Pops happy. Dad, I went and looked one more time, and it's just not the fit. I want to go to Georgia like I planned. I just hope that's not the case.
Right. Can I share another disappointment too this year?
I would love you to share.
You can't. No
this
more.
is sharing.
Talk to the hand.
Sharing.
Carl, talk to the hand. We had this lead up this year. I'm a running, I was not a good running back, but I was a running back in college.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
I'm going to tell war stories. So this season in August, when we are talking about fullbacks and we got like 4 or 5 of them on the roster and they're big, powerful guys, and we're going to go to old-timey running. I mean, I'm getting excited over here. Okay, I'm thinking right on. This season, I just didn't see it materialize. Once in a while, we go to a power, we go to an I formation, and then we didn't seem like we very, very seldom, a handful of times, we took advantage of that extra blocker going straight ahead, running north and south. And to me, that was a big disappointment this season.
Right.
I thought with the fullback in, put Grant or a good running back behind him, go to the eye, just plow straight ahead. You got to be patient with it.
I agree that there was a lack of balance. It's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, though. They didn't use the tight end like they should have. I don't think they used the fullback. I don't think they used the tight end to balance it out and keep defenses
especially when the wide receiver room was just decimated.
Yes.
It's like,
yeah.
why
My
wouldn't
God, you have 500
shift?
freshmen playing that are all red shirts, and you're not using your tight end or your fullback.
Right.
Well, and let's face it, if you're going to run and you put the spread out there, it's something I don't really understand. Those wide receivers do not block as well as a fullback and tight ends.
No.
So if you kind of want to create a running personality for your team, maybe you should get some horses in there.
Right, exactly. Well, let's look back. How many times on 3rd and short, 4th and short, goal line did we have the quarterback in the pistol?
Yeah, I hate that.
And I'm like, what are we doing? I
wonder what the mesh is like with Satterfield and Rule, or if that'll. There was a lot of talk after the Iowa game too about Satterfield around here, which we all knew there's no way Rule's going to get rid of him. But I wonder what those conversations are like a little bit, because Rule's out in the press conferences talking run game, and I don't think, and we've seen it in past regimes too, where we got Whippled and everything like that. Like those guys don't adjust very well, or their DNA to what their play calling just doesn't lend itself to shifting. There's very few guys that can just pick up a different offense and get it down right. And I think there was so many instances where we could have ran the ball or done it differently. And
I'm with you 100%, Jeff. I don't think Rule and Satterfield were on the same page a lot of the time.
But Jeff, you said something. You don't think Satterfield will go anywhere. You don't think that Rule will make that change. Yet they're not on the same page. Why? Why is Satterfield protected?
I just wonder. That's why I wonder, like, what their communication is. Like, wonder if it's good enough to, like, okay, this was a blending year, and then they move on like next year and see. Like, I don't think he's set for life, but I don't think Rule wants to come in and bring these kids in and give them, okay, here's your verbiage and all this for our offense. Oh, that was good for 9 months, and now he's gone, and now we're going to start all over.
Right.
I think
too many
you're
changes.
resetting to too much.
Okay.
Like
I think what
get it
you
in there
said,
and
Jeff,
see.
you said, Jeff, earlier, where he was never brought in really with the idea of to be the quarterback coach.
Right.
And so I think Coach Rule actually said the initial thought was for him to do coach tight ends.
Oh, okay.
So maybe if they can get a really good quarterback coach, that can maybe get these guys like Purdy. I don't know, but it sure looked to me he was just watching his receiver cut, and then he throws where he would be at that time. Well, he never looked to that place and saw that there was now a linebacker standing there. And he looked like he threw it directly to the linebacker, but he's watching his dude cut across the field and timing it, and by the time he throws and releases it, whoops, who is that?
You've
Who is
gotta
that?
be
Where'd you
able to-
come from?
But where's
You've
the
gotta have
read?
the-
Where's he watching his first read, his second read, his third read? Because he's going to his first read.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah. But
So-
even if that's your third read, you have to. We've all done different training or different things where
to see the whole
when you're nervous and young and you've maybe done something, whatever it might be, for the first time, your vision gets narrow because one, you might just be super nervous.
You just described my first marriage.
There you go. 27 years. 27 years of tunnel vision.
Hey, Nate, pretend your dad's not listening. Tell us about your first date when you were nervous.
Yeah, no.
Did you get tunnel focus or?
So I'm going to save you, Nate, because these guys are ruthless. So, but maybe if he gets a little more experience, he can.
Nate?
He can. No.
Oh, okay. I thought we were still in there.
Maybe Purdy.
He's got the hair.
And I
working
know
for him.
Nate is with that hair.
He's got the hair working
Forgive
for
me.
him.
It is
Come
kind
on
of
now.
Purdy.
It is
I mean, he's a
Purdy.
good-looking
It's
man.
Purdy.
But
It's Purdy.
so,
Good punt. Yeah.
but maybe he would. His mind would be able to see more of his vision, and that's what he has to do.
Absolutely.
He's got to be able to focus on that guy coming across the field, and
see
yet
the whole-
see in his peripheral that there's a fucking linebacker dropping into coverage. He's got to be able to see
Spent
that.
some time with his brother. His brother's figuring.
I wonder though if if Purdy doesn't get that groin injury in fall camp, is Harburg QB2 or is it Purdy? Like, would we have even ever saw Harburg unless something happened to Purdy when they bench Sims?
My opinion would I would have been
sitting.
I would have been Purdy number 2. It would have been personally my.
That's what I think. I truly think that too. But like to your point though, Karl, too, I think with Satterfield, like with all the running backs going down, with the receivers, I mean, it would be a pretty big black eye for the program if we dumped him with once he had all those problems, So
That's true.
I think you got to stick with him at least for another year.
But
I think
they
it's
have
a
to-
big stability thing too, especially Matt Rule starting out. It's his first year. If he's trying to build this thing long term, he doesn't want a rocky road of different offensive coordinators, different defensive coordinators. Kind of like Scott Frost. He had, what was it? The first 2 years, we had one OC, and then we made the switch to Matt Lubick. And then by the end of his tenure, we had another OC, and we never got it figured out.
Whose name
Right.
was Sean mentioned.
So the stability is very important.
I would agree. I would agree with you, Nate. The
good
one thing
call.
that often happens is that the head coach has to blame somebody, and usually it's an assistant that takes the blame. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes that's what happens. Is that they have to blame somebody.
Well, while we're on that topic, one of the most impressive things about Rule to me was his lack of blaming other people.
Good, you're right.
And the way
that's
he
true.
stood up for his kids, the way he stood up for the program. I think everyone here really liked what he said and the philosophy of how he coaches. And I think that's partly what gives all of us a lot of hope here in this program is, he's a solid stand-up guy.
He is. I
And
agree.
it came through with his press conferences pretty clear.
Right. Even with what we would say is his biggest miss, selecting Jeff Sims, he said, we failed to develop him. And so I would say what he doesn't want to say, because he don't want to say anything negative against a player, is that maybe they also failed to see that he didn't have the skills that they thought he had and failed to evaluate him appropriately. But he puts it back. We just failed to develop him.
Does Sims have
And,
another year?
Yeah, he's in the portal.
I know. I hope he goes to
But
St.
yes.
Francis in the NAIA.
I heard he's coming to Montana.
Oh. I'm going to hold back a profanity on the air.
I was gonna say, maybe we won't be making that trip next year.
No, I won't be making. I have season tickets to the Grizz. I won't be making that trip if Sims is our quarterback. Holy cripes. Jeez.
That's cold, Carl.
Yeah. It's true, though.
We should look forward. We should look forward.
Well, speaking of looking forward, let's look at the 2024 schedule. So I'm going to call it. We're going to win the spring game on April 27th.
By how much? You got a point spread on it?
By enough.
Okay.
By enough to give us hope, and we'll be like, man, they look good. We're going to really kick butt this year.
Colorado.
So
Yeah.
let me read this out for the people that might be listening. August 31st, UTEP in Lincoln. September 7th, Colorado comes to Lincoln. September 14th, Northern Iowa comes to Lincoln. September 21st, Illinois comes to Lincoln. So a lot of home games to start us off. September 28th, we're at Purdue. October 5, Rutgers comes to Lincoln. October 19th, we're at Indiana. October 26th, we're at Ohio State. November 2nd, we have UCLA coming to Lincoln. November 16th, we're at USC. November 23rd, we have Wisconsin at home. And November 29th, we go to Iowa. A chance for revenge for Jeff. So what do you guys think about that schedule?
Wow.
A lot of home games.
Yeah.
That may be
I like
what
it.
saves us.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, we really have a chance. I mean, again, we're going to win the spring game. So I would say we got a hopefully UTEP is a win. So what we did not have was that, I mean, that should be a game. I don't want to curse us, but that should be a game that we can work some bugs out. And then Colorado, we got to be ready to play, and hopefully we will avenge ourselves, in Lincoln. Northern Iowa,
should be. That could be a trap game.
What do you guys? Do you guys know much about Northern Iowa?
I do because they play at the FCS.
We've had them
division.
here, yeah.
Okay.
That could be a trap game if we overlook them.
Okay. So they're a solid team.
They are. They always are.
They're
they always are.
perennial
And they
FCS
have
team.
knocked off a Kansas State or
They play Iowa State tough anytime they
yes.
there. So.
That's one of those games if we overlook them, we could be in trouble.
Okay. So got to pay attention, but it's winnable, obviously,
Yes,
an FCS
yes.
team. Then Illinois is coming here. Now, they might want some revenge off of this year, but I would say winnable. At Purdue should be winnable. Rutgers, if they're anything like they were this year, we better win that game.
Well, Shiano just got a contract extension today, so
Oh, yeah? Okay.
That's a formidable.
I mean, we're looking at this. We really could be.
We could be bowl eligible by the time we play Ohio State.
That's what we said this year.
I know, but I'm saying it for next year. It's different.
We really could be 7-0. I mean, that's kind of a dream when we play
6-1.
Ohio State.
6-1 when we go against.
We could be
Ohio
6.
State?
Let's say we lose Colorado. We could be 6-1.
6-1.
I don't want to lose to Colorado, but
I'll go 5-2.
oh, for the love of God, Karl.
Yep.
So then we got the new entrants. Two of the new entrants to the conference, UCLA and USC.
Now is their coach staying? Did they get a coaching
Which
change?
one? UCLA or USC?
UCLA.
UCLA, yeah, their coach is staying. It's that guy. Name is escaping me. Was
Kelly.
it? Go with it, Nate.
Kelly, right?
Yeah,
Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly is staying, yeah. At least so far.
Okay. I thought there was some major talk that he was moving on or they were moving him on or
I think he's staying. Unless Nate, have you heard differently?
Yeah, I think he's staying. I think that's a place that people are worried about for Tony White next year. If that one opens up, that he might take off for
Might
that
go
one.
there.
But yeah, Kelly's here for another year.
Okay.
But they talked about, a lot of experts talked about how this year's schedule was one of the easiest schedules. And, it probably was as far as to win the Big Ten West. Obviously, there's no East and West anymore. So exactly how that all gets sorted out and how they figure out who the East or who the two champions are. I'm not sure. We also moved to a 12-team playoff. So,
well, just talking, I mentioned the trap game of Northern Illinois. UCLA or USC could look at Nebraska as being a trap game. They could be, that could be a trap game, because both of those teams have underperformed against lower competition. If Nebraska figures out their stuff, I could see us winning one of those two games.
Well, I think we would look really good against UCLA, possibly.
Yes, UCLA would be, but possibly even
SC.
USC, because USC didn't play to their ability. UCLA, if they don't take us serious, I could see us sneaking a win.
That'd be a great sneak of win, though.
It would be.
Beat
It would
SC
be.
at
I'm
home
just
would
saying.
be a great win.
I'm just saying. I could see it happening.
We're going undefeated next year.
We're
man.
going
This
to
is
be
awesome.
national champions, baby.
Awesome.
we're in the playoffs. And, I've said for years, hope springs eternal this time of
Doesn't
year.
it?
Especially look at the excitement we had. Now we're all kind of bummed out. We don't have a bowl game, and then all of a sudden it looks like we have a chance to land 2 5-star quarterbacks. One who has 1 year of eligibility left, who only lost 1 game in the Big Ten last year.
Yeah.
Or this last season, and a 5-star quarterback recruit, probably the highest ranked recruit Nebraska's had, well, in many, many years. Definitely the highest ranked quarterback. Now, Tommy Frazier, they said he was before this ranking system started, and he would have been highly ranked. But still, to get potentially 2 5-star quarterbacks. Now it looks like, obviously, we're not going to get McCord from Ohio State.
I'm not counting that out, by the way.
Hopefully he's just keeping his.
I could picture that being a pawn. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, dude, just come in and compete.
Yeah.
And who said? I would hopefully think that Dylan Raiola is not coming in and saying, "I've got to start." Hopefully that isn't his message. Hopefully he's coming in and saying, "Man, I expect very quickly, maybe year 2, to be competing for the starting job."
Who would want to burn their red shirt like that? That'd be foolish.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, dude, you're going to get into 4 games. We'll make sure you get into 4 games. Yeah.
You're not doing yourself a favor if you want to come in as right out of high school and play a full season. You've just burned a year that you didn't need to burn.
Right. Well, man, if we could have gotten those 2 and then kept our 2 quarterbacks that are there now, and I would have loved to have still brought in the Nebraska freshman. What's his name, Jeff? Or Nate?
Nate probably knows better.
The Bell West, Daniel Kalen.
Yeah, Kalen, yeah. And you're right. You said now he's starting to look around. My nightmare, how this season kind of went to, we're like, we got 4 chances to get our 6th win. What are you talking about? We're going to go to the bowl game. Hey, well, let's meet there. We're going to meet at the bowl game. Maybe it's going to be in Vegas. Of course it is. And then loss after loss after loss after loss. It's like, shit, it's like our lives.
Loss after loss.
Yeah, loss after loss, baby. But so the nightmare would be now we're daydreaming. It's the sunny thing. We got 2 5-star quarterbacks coming in. We lose the old one with 1 year left because he's pissed off. We're bringing in the potentially new 5-star. Then he is, come signing day, and then he's out too. And then we lose our 4-star recruit for Nebraska.
We're going to go Wildcat next season. We've got no quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean that's definitely the nightmare. But well, gentlemen, I think I'm going to kind of go around the room and anything. It's been I want to thank you guys. I'm not sure exactly. We got to talk about what we want to do, maybe once a month, or maybe starting in January or February once a month. We'll get it figured out. But the people might be upset if we don't get anything out there.
Out there.
Yeah.
Well, now that we have Nate,
12
yeah, we got Nate.
we're going to have a different clientele demanding Nate.
Literally, and I don't know.
It's just the hair. The hairstylist alone will want him.
I mean, we started this so that we could hang out, have some whiskey, have some beer, again, I'm shout out to Lewis and Clark Brewing Company. I got a little prickly pear going on. What do you got?
I got the Pompeii Pilsner.
There we
Always
go.
a favorite. Very good.
Very tasty beers. But that was sort of the goal. And I'm actually shocked that we have on average over 50 people that watch our podcast.
And not just family members.
No,
that's important.
Actually, I talk to my family members, and I don't think any of them watch it. I don't know about you guys. I talk to, brother Johnny and sister Debbie. Oh, how do you find that? How do you find that?
And we gave out some free tickets this year. We've got good social media following. We've had we had 300 people, I think, on Facebook during the ticket giveaway week.
So we have over 100 we have over 100 followers, I think, and almost that in likes. And anyway, the whole thing, just the fact that anyone listens to us. But we are trying to get the information out there in a concise manner. So if they only want to listen to a few minutes, they can get sort of the topics of the day. And that's sort of been the goal. And then go a little more in depth and have some fun just chatting. So
been enjoyable.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do in the off season, and I just do want to thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun, and having you guys join us from Omaha is an added
huge.
Yeah, it adds a lot. So, and it's fun for me to work with the technology that we got going. So we'll just go around the horn and sort of the season. I mean, the Iowa game, we're all trying to forget that already anyway. But we'll just go around the horn. And Karl, I'll start over here with you. But just kind of the season and what's coming in the spring and 2024.
I feel good about it. I mean, even though we didn't qualify for a bowl game, I still felt like we made progress. And I think we have a better idea of what needs to be fixed. And I think Rule is the guy to do it. So I feel good about it. I feel optimistic about the chances next year.
I feel good.
I feel good.
I love it. I love it. He is sometimes not always that positive.
Sometimes.
And I love that response.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, BB, what do you think? And what do you feel?
I'm going to give you the same response because I'm incredibly optimistic about next year. I think you've got to remember we had, in many ways, a young team, certainly by the end of the season. Those guys have all gotten a tremendous amount of experience.
Yes.
We had a lot of freshmen on the football team that got to see the field. And that doesn't always happen. So I feel really good for those guys next year. I do think we're going to figure out something with quarterback. Whoever it is, I fully expect our quarterback play to be better next year. I think our special teams is going to be better. We're going to have a more experienced place kicker. We're bringing in addition to my son, it'll be his senior year, but we're going to have Cook come in, his son.
Yes.
So there's going to be some serious competition.
And another scholarship punter.
Right. So Buddy's going to have to perform or he'll be replaced.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of life, really. And so I see that as a positive. We're going to improve in the field position game. Defense, we're losing some players, but we also get a lot of experience for younger players too. A lot of guys stepped up this year on defense. And we had one of the best defenses in the country. So I see nothing but good things coming next year. I really do.
Yeah, like Nate said earlier, I was very impressed with the defense, and it was kind of unexpected. Jeff, I'll go to you. Same question.
Well, I kind of been pre-planning my get ready for next year. I bought a cold plunge tub for the stress. So after in the middle of the game, or if we're negative 10 plus turnovers mid-season next year, I'm just probably going to sleep in that.
Now, hold on, just a second. I got to ask you. Now, is this like Karl's hot tub inflatable from Costco?
I love my hot tub.
Or just like a real.
Every night I enjoy that.
This is way more rural than that.
No, did you turn a freezer? Did you turn a freezer into a...
Yes. Hey, came straight from my boy Troy in Iowa.
That is awesome. Actually, I heard about that's a great idea, man. An old freezer. Just turn it into a cold plunge. Okay,
so
keep going. I'm sorry.
lower the stress level on that. And I thought it was a good season. Like Frosty Flakes ruined me as far as optimism. Like I can't.
Are you crying?
No crying.
I should be crying.
There's no crying in football.
That guy friggin' ruined me. Like, God damn. But so the optimism, I did get what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the trenches get better. I said that, come mid-season, if it looks like the lines are better, I'm going to feel decent about this, regardless of wins or losses. So I said that at the beginning. It was painful to lose out those 4 games and not make that bowl, but I did see that progression in the trenches. Tony White was, obviously a great surprise because I had, when they talked that whole new defense that he was bringing in, never knew anything about it, never heard his name, had no idea what to expect, and that was a pleasant surprise. So I'm hoping that in year 2 that stays steady and doesn't fall off or people don't figure that out. But, looking forward, I think we got the right man at athletic director. I think we got the right man at head coach. And I hope that this quarterback thing, that we get something figured out in the off season. But if not, I got my cold plunge and I'll be just fine.
Is there room for 2 or 3 or 4, all of us?
Depends on if you want to be on the top of the stack or the bottom of the stack.
And do we have to wear swimsuits? I mean, come on.
Totally optional.
A cold plunge, it's going to be an innie, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's going to be an idiot.
I think Nate's vomiting a little bit right now.
Shout out for volleyball tomorrow.
All right, let's see that shirt. Let's see that shirt again.
Some good shirts this year.
Volleyball.
Right.
Final
Four.
volleyball
Final
team
Four.
tomorrow. So
Good for
6
them.
o'clock Central Time. So got to give it a shout out to those girls.
Good for them.
Hard not to remember the 90,000+ fans that carried out that was a milestone.
World
milestone.
record for any female sporting event.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You got to love the Nebraska fans. Yep. My brother Johnny was like going on and on about Nebraska volleyball, and it's just amazing that out in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, you have people that get so into that stuff. But I digress. And so I've saved the man with the best hair for last. Nate, same question to you. Just give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I liked everything you guys said. It was a good season. Something that Karl just said and that I kind of touched on in the beginning was there's something about knowing what you need to fix and being able to focus on one thing in the off season. And so I think they know what they need to do. And I have optimism for next season. I saw good things this season, so I'm excited.
Well, I'm going to save my comments, and I know, Nate, you may not have seen this, and these 2 dudes saw it. They never said anything about it, but I'm going to express myself through. It was very, very hurtful, just so you understand.
I apologize.
Yeah, and
I did.
Well, wait a minute. I don't think Jeff said anything either. So
No, you deserve what you got.
all you all,
this is
all
what I
you
did.
all. I'm expressing myself through this. Here we go. So that's it. Get a little better every day in the spring and the fall, or the summer anyway and be ready to frickin' play in the fall. Jeff, I don't know if you noticed some of the video, or it was either yours or Nate's that you sent me that made it in there. And one of the coolest parts is what you sent is when that big Nebraska flag comes up as they're running on the field. But it was awesome.
I thought it might be a little red.
It was a sweet video.
With a little red ran on
Let's
the
not
field.
do that. Don't ruin it.
I debated on the little red shirt or volleyball, but I figured
Stop
we better
it.
Please
spell
don't do
volleyball.
Nate, just confirm
Oh,
this
it'll be
for me.
back.
Little Red creepy as hell.
Yeah, a little
There
bit.
we
Yeah,
go. All right. Thank
There's
you,
something
Nate.
there, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you ever see Little Red hanging out at your parties?
No. Well, only with
Because you're at the wrong parties if you do, my friend.
He's only with the underage girls.
Did Little
We don't
Red
like that?
Well, did Little Red ever come up to you and say, "You got nice hair"?
Does he want to hug you? Hug you real tight?
I'd like to put my balloon-like fingers through your
You're gonna
hair.
have to edit.
Oh,
You're
my
gonna have to
God.
edit, dude.
I don't even know. Just little. Oh,
His
the
only
hands are
arms
like
only
this.
go
The hands
Okay,
like the Tyrannosaurus Rex hands.
you guys have been watching Little Red too much. All right, gentlemen. Any last thoughts? Go in the room, Karl.
Hopeful. I
Love
have
it.
Good
yeah,
word. Good
that's
word.
all.
BB?
Go Big Red. Go Big.
Jeff,
Go Big Red.
Nate.
GBR.
All right, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure the entire season.
Thanks, Rick.
Go Big Red.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for joining us, Nate.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Keep the hair.
Yeah, for sure. And Nate, you are always welcome to join us. We'll add you to our
And your hair.
And your hair. Karl,
Brian can't guarantee that.
No, that's true. No, yeah, no.
It might be a
Definitely weak in
hairpiece.
that department.
can you see how to do that?
Yep, I got it. Yeah, I got all you guys now.
Okay.
He figured it out in literally 5 seconds.
A nanosecond.
We would have been here for like
All
half an
night.
hour trying to figure
All
shit out.
night. Yes.
Yeah, I had to Google it.
Freaking nanosecond.
Would you do the honors of clapping?
Oh, please. Oh,
Okay, we're almost ready. Ready?
Wow.
teacher's pet.
Welcome to another. Oh, it's going to be rough.